Today we are working on a 2002 BMW 330CI. Customer complains that the power steering pump is making a little bit of noise. Just looking at the fluid here, quite used. This should be kind of a clear red. So what we're going to do is take the intake box off, disconnect the power steering reservoir, flush the fluid out, put some fresh fluid in. We'll also replace the power steering reservoir. There's filters in the bottoms of these reservoirs that can get clogged up over time based on the age of this vehicle. Also, those reservoirs aren't very expensive. It's just good to always replace those anytime you're flushing the system. And so we'll get the reservoir replaced and get some fresh fluid in there. These cars take ATF, Dexron 3, so we will be using that. I believe it takes about a liter, but I bought, or a quart, 2 quarts. I got 3. We'll see how much it ends up needing. First things first, we'll get these 12 millimeters off the intake box and loosen the intake hose. We'll pop this mass airflow sensor off. Okay, that just pushes in to pull out. What we are removing is this hose clamp here. You get the air box out and try to retrieve the 6 millimeter hex or 6 millimeter socket that I just dropped down there. So instead of the 6 millimeter, we're going to use a flathead. You shouldn't have to come all the way off with the hose clamp. Looks like there's about 4 different retainers on the intake box. Take the snorkel out of the way. Those are just little push pins here. Pull that up and then pull the washer piece. 10 millimeter bolts holding the lower part of the box. This just gives us a little better access to the pump and the lines underneath. It's 2 bolts holding the power steering line pump reservoir on. 12 millimeter bolts it looks like. 13 millimeter bolts. Let me grab a magnet to grab that. You don't want to drop anything. Our reservoir should be free, and it is. All right, one thing to observe is condition of your hoses. And as you can see, it looks like this return hose on the left side is kind of expanded quite a bit. And if we come down below the car, it is looking pretty gnarly right there. So we're gonna replace the return line as well as the reservoir. So we're gonna pull that return line and drain it into a pan. We've got our new pump and hose. What we want to do is reference the old hose. Okay, so out is to the big hose. I'm going to feed this in and then connect the lower to the power steering pump itself. Forgot to transfer the bracket. Appears to be about 90 degrees off from the input. The 10 millimeter nut on here. It should just slide off the bottom here. Alright, looks like everything's lining up. Gonna put a clamp on there and reconnect the power steering pump with a new clamp. Alright, we have our return hose connected from the pump from the reservoir to the pump, and then our other hose connected. This is our return hose that's connected to the cooler to the reservoir. So now we're gonna fill this up, probably go lock to lock to try to get some fluid running through everything, and then we'll crank it, briefly shut it off, and then make sure that it doesn't go too low. Keep topping up the fluid. So dump some fluid in now. As I said earlier, these take Dexron 3. It's a nice cranberry red color. We're not too worried about it being too full yet because we do need to displace it through the rest of the system. Should probably consider capping this off and putting the bolts back on just so it doesn't jump away on us. All right, we're gonna put the intake back in and then all right, I'm gonna go lock to lock, see if we can't suck any more fluid into that system. We're gonna pump some of that nasty stuff out.